Welcome back to the Carl Crusher channel. Today we've got some interesting stuff with this new jellyfish UFO or object that seems like it's floating down across the screen, and it's been released by Jeremy Corbell. I've got some other footage that's very similar to that was released to me from the Border Patrol a year ago, and it kind of went over everybody's heads. Nobody really paid attention to it because I uploaded it on a different channel. So let's get into it.
You ready?
There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown.
First thing that I notice is that the original footage that we see from Jeremy Corbell is just taken off of a cell phone, pointed at a television, and then all of the other interpretations are zoomed in and cropped and done differently. Also in the interview, Jeremy says that this object was changing temperature, like the inversion from black to white is an aspect of the thermal imager. So when it goes to white hot or goes to black to cold, I'm not sure exactly what the settings are on this camera, but this was filmed in 2018 over in Iraq, and this is a military targeting system that is zoomed in on this object. And the reports are, according to Jeremy Corbell, of course, that this thing was sort of jamming their system, so it was unable to zoom in appropriately or get a better focus on the object or the target. And also he claims that in the video footage, this thing goes down into the water like a submersible transmedium UFO or UAP, and then it comes back out of the water at a high degree of speed and angle as it exits. But we don't see any of that footage of this jellyfish UFO going into the water, coming out of the water, or any of those claims actually being substantiated. So we're going to have to wait and see if that footage actually comes out and surfaces to see if that's for real. If it's just a claim that it goes down into the water and comes out and we never see the footage, to me, I would have to kind of chalk this up to a balloon. In fact, it's been posted on Twitter by other people debunking this, that they think it belongs to some sort of an Islamic festival, and they've actually found balloons that look very similar to this thing. So I don't know, is it something about mylar balloons when they get in a bundle, the way that they reflect the sunlight, it somehow is tricking or deceiving certain types of targeting systems? Or I don't know, it seems like they would be able to figure this out. If it was just mylar balloons, why isn't the Pentagon or the Department of Defense or somebody coming out and just saying what this is and identifying that it is a bunch of party balloons floating along? The other thing is that's interesting is that I've seen other footage like this that's called the rubber duck footage. Now, this was filmed in a location I actually don't have permission to disclose where it happened, but the rubber duck footage was a Border Patrol clip of footage that was sent to me and another friend, and we were able to analyze this, and they didn't know what it was, and it looks very similar. In fact, to me, it kind of looks like either it's a cache of like a balloon that's floating along carrying a payload or something, or it almost kind of looks like a person sitting in a meditation position, like with their legs crossed, and they're just sort of like hovering along, almost like, I don't know. It reminds me a lot of when I do meditations or when I try to like do astral projection and that kind of stuff. It sort of feels like that, like you're flying through an area or viewing a place and soaring through it. And it would be really interesting if there is entities from another dimension or extraterrestrials that when they use their consciousness and come into our reality, maybe it appears like that. But if you're going to use Occam's razor, we have to start with like, this should be balloons or something, just like with a very common explanation. And if we can't explain it and it continues to puzzle us, or we get more and more cases like this, then it gets more compelling. In fact, I've seen other clips surfacing around of other objects that look kind of like this, and even in the daytime, and they're hovering, and they sort of look like that craft off of Star Wars on the planet Hoth. It basically is the same thing. It comes down, it's like a scout droid that searches around and tries to find if there's any rebel alliance on the planet Hoth. So sort of interesting when you put it in that perspective, if it's some kind of a probe that's emerging into our reality and searching around. But for now, until we get that footage from Jeremy of this thing coming in and out of the water and get more substantial evidence, I think we're just going to have to chalk it up as probably balloons or something that just confused the targeting system, or there's a malfunction in the system. We have to remember that even though these advanced pieces of equipment that come out of the Navy or the Air Force or Border Patrol, that doesn't necessarily mean that the equipment runs perfect and isn't full of problems or delivers anomalous results sometimes. Don't forget that not long ago we had that incident down in Las Vegas where the police reported that they saw this meteorite coming down over the sky, and there was some sort of tall 8-9 foot tall entities or aliens in the backyard of this family down there in Vegas. And a lot of people went down there and tried to investigate it. The police did put cameras up on the corner pole and start to monitor it. I actually got calls about that entire incident down there a couple of weeks before it broke in the press and the media. I was too busy doing other stuff up and around Skinwalker Ranch at the time to go down to Las Vegas and focus on that particular situation. But it's interesting now that this report came out in Florida about people seeing a portal opening and extraterrestrials or entities stepping out of this portal, seeing a leg or an arm coming out. Other people have tried to describe it or done reenactments and depictions of what they think that it looked like. But honestly, when you listen to Brent Stone from Museum of Tarot, who's a friend of mine, and other people who are involved in this, it sounds more like there was a group of teens that went in with some New Year's fireworks and tried to set them off in the mall to make some videos or something. And it ended up starting an altercation and a fight broke out. And people running through the smoke of the fireworks may have looked like that in the middle of the panic. And people thought that they saw entities moving through the clouds or interdimensional creatures. I really don't think that the incident in Florida was aliens or extraterrestrials. I think a lot of people are spinning stories off of that to try and get views on their TikToks and stuff. And so it's kind of gone viral and people are jumping on that. And it's just like easy to pile on to get the views. But to me, I think that was just an incident where people had New Year's fireworks. They set them off somewhere that they shouldn't. And it started an incident that people misunderstood as an active shooter situation. And so they swarmed on the mall. It was probably an overreaction from the police force. And now there's investigations and internal investigations going on. And so nobody can really talk about it. And that not being able to talk about it makes it seem awful suspicious, but that's just what happens in active police investigations. But it's interesting. It seems like we can barely go a month now without somebody on their cell phone catching something in the sky or something down on the ground. And this idea of UFOs just being flying saucers made out of metal, that is starting to fade. And we're getting more and more open-mindedness to this idea of ultra-terrestrials or interdimensional entities. UFOs could be many shapes and sizes or types, and they might even kind of look like a bunch of balloons. I don't know. So we might have to just like suspend our judgment, keep an open mind, and look for more credible evidence as we go forward. For the remainder of this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to reveal sort of how I use my thought processes a lot when I'm coming up with different videos or when I'm trying to think around something philosophically. And I wanted to use ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, and just do a straight up freeform clip here where I interact with ChatGPT on my phone and have a full-blown conversation about the extraterrestrial topic and show you guys what that's like and see if we can uncover any interesting information about it that we maybe didn't know that ChatGPT can tell us. So we're going to turn her voice on here and just start having a conversation.
Absolutely. Let's dive into the extraterrestrial talk. What's your take on the whole alien presence and visitations to Earth? Any particular theories you find intriguing?
I find myself most interested in the theories of John Keel and Jacques Vallée, where they talk about ultra-terrestrials, this idea that there is a dimension or a plane of reality that is parallel to ours or in a frequency close to ours, where they remain unseen to us but are able to cross into our dimension of reality. I don't necessarily think that aliens come from other planets in outer space. What do you think?
Fascinating perspective. The concept of ultra-terrestrials and parallel dimensions adds an intriguing layer to the discussion. It challenges the traditional view of extraterrestrials as beings from distant planets. What drew you to these theories, and do you think there's evidence supporting this idea?
Without going into my personal encounters and experiences with these entities, a lot of it has come in my adult life from going out and doing research into locations like Skinwalker Ranch, Mount Wilson Ranch in Pioche, Nevada, and ancient petroglyph locations, and also talking to Native Americans.
Exploring places like Skinwalker Ranch
I
and
went
Mount
too long.
Wilson Ranch sounds like quite the adventure. Did your research and experiences in these
She's asking
locations
me the
align
questions.
with the theories you find intriguing? Or did you come across anything unexpected?
I think I'm more interested in asking you the questions instead of having you ask me the questions. So I would like to know what your thought is. Do you think that extraterrestrials or alien interaction on Earth could be time travelers from the future coming back in time?
The idea of extraterrestrials being time travelers is a fascinating concept. While it's a speculative theory, the notion of beings from our future navigating the past does bring an interesting twist to the conversation. What led you to consider this possibility, and do you find any supporting evidence for it?
There has been people that have recently left the CIA that are coming out on podcasts and talking on the internet about UFOs are us from the future, humans from the future that are using artificial intelligence to come back in time.
The theory of future humans using advanced technology to visit the past is gaining traction. It's intriguing that former CIA personnel are discussing this on podcasts. How do you feel about the credibility of such claims? And do you think there's a significant connection between AI and time travel in this context?
Why don't you answer the question instead of asking me? What do you think? Do you think the odds are that it's time travel, or do you think extraterrestrials are coming from other planets?
Considering the speculative nature of both theories, it's challenging to determine the odds definitively. The idea of time traveling humans is a unique take, but the traditional concept of extraterrestrials from other planets is also prevalent. Both theories bring an element of mystery to the table. What's your gut feeling about which theory might hold more weight?
So, as you can see, I had a conversation just yesterday with ChatGPT. We went all into the nature of time travel, quantum relativity, artificial intelligence coming back in time. And for some reason, now ChatGPT just wants to ask me all the questions and will not do it. I'll also tell you that when I tried to have that conversation with her yesterday, I was also filming a video having the same conversation, trying to talk about artificial intelligence and quantum time travel. My entire power in my house shut off. My internet shut down for 3 hours. I had an electrician come out and fix a bunch of stuff, and an outlet outside of my house was broken, and my power had gone out.
Yes, Howard Hughes, a prominent figure in aviation and engineering, had involvement in various technological endeavors, including research related to directed energy weapons. Hughes was known for his interest in advanced aviation technologies and innovative engineering projects. While there isn't direct evidence of Howard Hughes's involvement in the initial development of directed energy weapons, his extensive involvement in aviation and defense-related projects placed him in circles where discussions and explorations into cutting-edge technologies, including directed energy, might have occurred. Hughes' contributions to aerospace technology and his involvement in defense contracts through his company, Hughes Aircraft Company, positioned him within the broader landscape of defense research and development during a period when directed energy weapons were being explored as potential defense solutions. However, specific details regarding his direct role in the early development of these weapons might not be extensively documented or publicly available.
Are you aware of Howard Hughes' involvement with psychotronic experimentation in the state of Nevada?
have been claims and speculations about Howard Hughes' involvement with various projects and experiments, including psychotronic experimentation, in the state of Nevada. However, concrete and widely accepted evidence directly linking Hughes to psychotronic experiments in Nevada is scarce and often subject to conspiracy theories or unverified information. Howard Hughes had numerous business interests and projects throughout his life, some of which were secretive or not fully disclosed to the public. This secrecy has contributed to speculation and rumors about his involvement in a wide range of endeavors, including those related to psychotronics. It's essential to approach such claims with caution, considering the lack of substantiated evidence and the tendency for rumors and speculation to surround the lives of influential figures like Howard Hughes, especially after his death.
What can you tell me about the Wilson Davis memo and UFOs?
The Wilson Davis memo refers to a controversial document purportedly detailing a meeting between former Admiral Thomas R. Wilson and scientist Eric Davis. However, it's important to note that the authenticity of the Wilson Davis memo remains highly debated within the UFO community and broader circles. Some researchers question its credibility due to the lack of verifiable evidence and confirmatory documentation. The memo has not been officially acknowledged or confirmed by the individuals mentioned, nor by government authorities. As such, while the Wilson Davis memo
It has been confirmed by
interest among UFO
Eric Davis.
enthusiasts and researchers, its status as a genuine document or its implications regarding extraterrestrial technology remains subject to skepticism and ongoing scrutiny.
Do you think it's possible that the early radar systems and the development of MK Ultra may have made contact with extraterrestrials or another dimension?
The possibility of early radar systems or the MK Ultra program making contact with extraterrestrials or another dimension is a subject that's primarily within the realm of speculation and hypothetical scenarios rather than established fact.
And so I finally got my internet and everything going again. And now I get back on ChatGPT, and the responses that she's given are totally filtered. Like she's just trying to talk back and ask me the questions instead of answering the questions I'm asking her. So I don't know what's going on there. Something feels awful weird. Anyway, it's been a really interesting couple of weeks. There's a lot of new information coming out. A lot of cell phone footage, clips of UFOs and different interactions and encounters are pouring into the internet. It's really interesting. It's like the technology is starting to become more portable. People's cell phones are now filming in 4K, and you can carry night vision, thermal imagers, and all kinds of stuff just in your pocket and backpack. So the technology is starting to catch up with the phenomena, I think, and we're going to see more and more video evidence coming out from regular civilian populations, and maybe more whistleblower leaks and Department of Defense footage, Pentagon footage, Navy clips. Hopefully we get to see more credible stuff coming out from the whistleblower hearings. And I really want to see this jellyfish UFO coming out of the water and flying up into the sky. Until we see that, people are just going to continue to call this balloons. If you like this video, make sure and subscribe and turn on notifications. If there's any new incidents that are coming up that are fascinating, we'll try to cover them and tackle it, as well as all the events coming out at Mount Wilson Ranch when I go back up there. I'm also going to be flying out to Florida and doing some podcasting and a lot of other cool stuff. So make sure and follow over on my Patreon page, over on the Mount Wilson Ranch Patreon page, and subscribe right here for more. We'll see you guys in the next one.